I want to come back to what we were talking about earlier, the virality of your book. What do you think it was at that time that, after you said you had done 5 or 6 books up until that point, nothing really caught fire? This book all of a sudden explodes. What's different? Are you writing along the same theme, same kind of writing? What changed?
Definitely the first time I had stepped into the nonfiction space. So I started in fiction, and I think that was an incredible learning experience to move into nonfiction because even when I was writing nonfiction, I try and write in a way that would hold your attention the same way that characters in a fiction story might. And I try and be creative with, you know, I think great fiction writers can speak to you not just with the words that they're saying, but even the structure of the page or how it flows. And so that definitely was a great lesson. So it was the first time I did nonfiction. Also, I've been in community with my community for, gosh, no, I started, what year are we in? So 2008, 2007, 2008. So it's been a really long time. And by the time that book came out, I had been talking to her, my reader, my customer, my community for years and years and years. So I knew her struggles. I knew what she was worried about. I knew her stressors, and a lot of them were mine as well. So I really wrote a book where each chapter were the things that I knew my reader was dealing with the most. Issues like with body image, feeling like she was a bad mom, feeling like she wasn't comfortable with her sexuality, feeling like she was a bad person or she needed to look a certain way, or just all the stuff. I put it all in there, and I think I also had just the freaking luck to have stepped into that space. Now it's so common and normal on Instagram for people to be authentic and share their truth and show their stretch marks and talk about all the things. But when I wrote that book, that was not common practice. People did not talk about peeing their pants and back fat and struggling in their sex life. And like, people didn't say that. Now, sure. But back then, I think it was kind of shocking to people, which also kind of helped. What is really special about Girl Wash Your Face, to me, the most special thing, is that that book was not an immediate bestseller. And that's what a lot of people don't know. I had this dream of being a New York Times bestseller, and here's my sixth book, and I'm thinking maybe this time, because that's what you do when you're an author. You're like, maybe this one. And it came out, and it wasn't on the list because it didn't. It was okay. It wasn't selling great, and I sobbed. I was so devastated. My dream again. I lost it. I didn't do a good enough job. All that stuff. And every week it would start to sell more and more and more, and women would pass it to friends and buy it for their sisters, and it just kept growing. So that hit the list something like 13 weeks after it came out. It took a minute. And that's a pretty unique thing that I'm really proud of.
And if I have the story right, you ended up getting denied by a publisher and released that book independently. And I think it was like, what, 6 months later, they ended up deciding to pick it up.
Well, so that was my first fiction book. So that's the
Got
book
it.
that
Okay.
launched my career. But I will say I had a publisher, and when you have a publisher, they typically have first right of refusal for the next thing you do. And so I did give that idea to my existing publisher, and they turned it down because they're like, we don't get it.